Here's a side-by-side comparison of a flowchart and a state chart. On the left is a flowchart from a textbook for a half duplex serial port that's using software flow control X on, X off. If you're not familiar with this type of system, it's okay to skip to the next slide. But for those of you who have dealt with serial port flow control, you'll recall there's a flag that tells you if there's a byte ready to read. There's another flag telling you if it's okay to write a byte, and you'll have some sort of buffers of incoming and outgoing messages. The code on the left is a flowchart that, as far as I can tell, correctly implements X on and X off, but it took me a while to work through it and see what was really going on there. On the right is a state chart I created to try and correspond to what was going on in the software. Here, there's an initial state of the transceiver is idle in state 1. If an incoming byte is received, it goes to state 2. And if it's an X off, it goes to state 4. Otherwise, it goes back to state 1, with an implicit side effect that the byte that's been read has been left in a read buffer. We're back in state 1, and if there's no incoming read byte, but the outgoing write buffer is empty, then you write a byte and again go back to state 1. The right-hand side of the state chart deals with flow control saying it's okay to write. In other words, it's the X on state. The left side of the state machine has a receive idle, so state 4, which corresponds to state 1. But in state 4, you've been told not to write anything, you've received an X off. And so it just reads bytes until it gets an X on command, and when it receives an X on command, it goes back to state 1. It's a bit more straightforward to tell that this correctly implements the X on, X off protocol, and it's also more straightforward to tell that reads have priority over writes in this situation. As an exercise, you should look at the flowchart on the left and see if it actually does the same thing that the state chart says. Then ask yourself, if it was your job to make sure the system was defect-free, would you rather be looking at that flowchart, or would you rather be looking at that state chart?